And welcome everybody to this week's episode of Relive the Magic podcast. I am your host, Dallas Thompson. Today we are joined by Alex Torres. Say hello.
Hello.
It has been a crazy week full of a lot of stuff, and we have a lot to talk about today. And we're going to try to do it within the next 40 minutes or so, so that we don't take too long here. But for those of you who don't already, you can follow us on Twitter at relive_magic. I believe it's the same on Instagram. And then you can subscribe to us on either YouTube or iTunes or Spotify, wherever you would want to listen to this from. But with all that, let's just go ahead and get started. We have about 10 topics here today, which is a lot more than we've done. So first up, it's kind of a bizarre idea. Earlier this week, this website called the Diz Insider broke this story that the Big Hero 6 characters, Hero and Baymax, were going to come to the MCU. And about a year ago, it would have been like, oh, that's definitely false. But after everything that's come out in the last few months, it was kind of like, oh, okay. I mean, that's not a surprise with the Multiverse of Madness coming and with everything that's going on with Spider-Man 3. That wouldn't really be a surprise to me, at least. But the next day, Variety, which is a more... I don't know if they're definitely a more reputable source, but there's nothing wrong with that website. They came out with something that said there's no plans for that to happen. So the ultimate idea is, or the thought in everyone's mind is, okay, well, that was just a fake story. But we've seen a lot of times before where they've come out and denied things that do end up happening, and they didn't want to get out. Or if it's a small site, they're more likely to be able to get people to believe the bigger sites if the studios are like, oh, you need to say that we're not doing this. But at this point, honestly, in the MCU, anything's possible, so I wouldn't be surprised. I'd think it might be kind of weird if they did Baymax in the MCU. That might look kind of weird, especially if it's live action. But I think it's possible. I don't really know if it'll happen. I don't personally think it should happen. And that's not normal. I normally would be like, anything can go. It'll be great. But that's kind of a weird thing to me, in my opinion. What do you think about, like, if they did that, what would you think about it? And do you think it's a legit thing, or do you think it's just some random rumor that has no truth to it?
I mean, for me, like, from my own perspective, like, I just follow, like, whatever gets official, what's official, this is it. You know, like, you like it. Like, Disney will throw out the brand, and they'll be like, okay, you like it, dislike it, okay, thank you, bye-bye, thank you, we'll take your money. But for real, I mean, I'm just excited for, like, whatever they got to offer. It's Disney at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, if they did it, it'd be okay. I'm sure it'd be great, but the idea is just kind of weird to see a live-action Baymax walking around a big balloon, walking around with
nowadays,
Deadpool
Disney
and
wants to try
Spider-Man.
New film technology, and they're trying to expand on it. So it's...
I mean, it's possible. Maybe. And if any time, then I guess now's the time for it with Multiverse of Madness.
It's a hit or miss at the end of the day. It's a hit or miss.
Yeah. I'd rather see a Big Hero 6 sequel than that. That movie was great, so it'd be really nice if they did that. But
I was emotional in that movie. That movie made me kind of really emotional for some reason.
Yeah, it was a surprise. It didn't look as good as it was, and then I felt like it was a little bit underrated. I still think it is. So hopefully, rather than doing this, they'd make a second. That'd be my preference, but I guess either would be fine. And anything is possible these days, especially in the MCU, where we're all kind of questioning, will the X-Men show up in WandaVision? Will Fantastic Four show up in WandaVision? You never know. But we'll find that out pretty soon. So on that note, this week there's been a lot of talk about the Velocicoaster opening at Universal's Islands of Adventure. It started this week when merchandise showed up around the park with the logo of the ride, and then eventually some merch showed up that said grand opening on it, which is kind of confusing because they haven't even announced the grand opening yet for it. And then the walls came down, pretty much most of them. I don't know if it was all of them, but most of them. And then every single blogger this week was posting pictures, videos, everything you could imagine from from the ride, from the area around it. And so that's kind of brought up the question again, when is this thing opening? And actually today Universal trolled everyone on Twitter. They were like, I don't know if you saw this, they were like, February 27th is the opening date for V. But then they're like, oh, sorry, we meant Volcano Bay, because that reopens on Saturday. But
still Universal.
That was pretty genius of them. I mean, they never said it doesn't open that day. Maybe it will. But it looks like it's ready to go. They're done testing it. So
soft opening.
I think it'll be a thing like Kong where they didn't announce the grand opening. They were just like, oh, yeah, it's grand open now. Because they did that a while ago. Why wouldn't they do it now during COVID? That would make sense to me. I know last year when they opened Hagrid, they announced it months in advance, but I think they'll do a surprise opening this time. But I think we could see soft openings at least in the next week or two, maybe, because they're trolling everyone pretty hard on Twitter about it. And I mean, they're selling grand opening merchandise, so they have to at least be close. What do you think? Do you think we'll get a soft opening in the next few weeks?
I could see a soft opening soon. I mean, like, it's nice that Universal's like going with like adding more roller coasters in Orlando. I mean, while in Hollywood, I know Hollywood has their own reasons why we can't really have like a outdoor coaster, but as much I would love to see like have some type of like cool more outdoor. I mean, I know we have like we have our snow coaster in Universal.
Harry
Hollywood.
Potter, right?
Yeah,
but that's all you guys have, right? Like as far as coasters go.
Pretty much, and then Mummy indoor, but
oh yeah, at least
it's too short. It's Mummy. I don't know if you've ever been on our Mummy or if you probably saw YouTube videos of it, Dallas. But it's so short.
Really, I didn't know that. That's funny. But yeah, so this could be opening anytime soon. I had kind of thought that Ratatouille would open at Epcot first, and then this one would. But now I'm kind of thinking the opposite might be true. Spring break is coming up here in Florida. I think both will be open very soon. It's just a matter of who's going to go first. It's looking like Velocicoaster will go first. And I think both will kind of be open without much announcement. But that's just me. Maybe they will announce it. But I think they've both opened things without much announcement before. So I wouldn't put it past them to do it again. And speaking of like the pandemic era and stuff, Disneyland still has not opened yet, but they're getting there. And one thing that came out this week was about a hotel at Disneyland. The villas at the Grand Californian Hotel is reopening on May 2nd. And that's the Disney Vacation Club resort. That doesn't necessarily mean that the parks are opening, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. If you think about how Walt Disney World did it last year, they opened resorts, and then they opened parks, then they opened more parks, and then they just kept going. So I think they're finally getting to that point. May 2nd sounds reasonable. We're about to be in March here in a couple days. And in a minute, we'll talk about some other things Disneyland's about to do, but that's definitely a step in the right direction. But it's not a general public resort. It's just for the Disney Vacation Club members. I'm sure it's reopening at very limited capacity, but it's good we're finally starting to see some stuff head towards an opening at Disneyland. And in a minute, we'll talk more about other things they're doing there. But I think we could maybe see it start around that time in May or June would be my guess when they'll finally start to reopen the parks themselves. Do you have anything to say on that hotel thing, or do you want to save it for the other Disney thing?
I mean, I know that we're doing a food event called Touch of Disney, which you pay like, I think $75, $50, correct me if I'm wrong.
It is
$75, but you pay for extra money just to get in and eat. Same thing like what Knott's Berry Farm is going to do also on March.
Well,
and then Touch of Disney will be March 18th. But yeah.
well, the thing about that is that it's $75, but it includes parking, which is, I don't know how much it is out there, but here it's $25.
It's $10.
Oh, okay. Well,
oh, yeah.
Well, they include parking, and then they include $25 towards the food. So really, that's $35 off of it. So it's not. I don't think the price is as steep as some people are making it out to be on Twitter and stuff. They're like, "How dare they charge this much?" But it's going to sell out. Like at least the first few weeks, it's going to sell out.
Oh.
So of course they're doing it. It's literally a chance for people to give them money to come spend more money. I don't see what
back, like earn back, make their money back.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And yeah, and I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it'll go really well for them. I think it'll get a lot of people out of the house that want to get out of the house.
Money brings kind of happiness for them. So
yeah, and they've lost a lot of it lately. So
they could definitely.
I mean, the good part is it's bringing back a lot of employees, and that's really the good part about the whole thing. So you can be mad if you want that they're charging $75, but at least people are going back to work finally.
I mean, I'm not mad. I'm okay, but
yeah, I mean, I'm just referencing in general. There are some people online that are like, "That's stupid."
Yeah.
But I mean, those are the same people that say that.
I'm still gonna go. I'm still such a supporter for Disney, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, if I lived out there, I would, but I'm not gonna fly there just to eat food.
I'll cover it. I'll go cover it.
We'll talk about it in March, probably. But something I can see because I'm around here is the Disney World 50th anniversary, which is coming up. That's a big deal, and it's going to span a year and a half, starting in October. So it'll go all the way to 2023, which is crazy to think about. And what they showed us about a week ago on Friday last week, they showed us the park icons are all going to get some updates to them. The castle will get like updated things just for the 50th. And then each park at night will get an upgraded lighting package and an upgraded look at night. And then the characters will have updated outfits as they tend to do. So those are pretty cool things. But they're kind of to be expected. I think the big things are coming up soon. Like they're still going to announce more stuff, of course. They had originally said, Guardians of the Galaxy, the ride would be ready for the 50th. The Tron ride would be ready for the 50th, and some other stuff as well. But I think the reason the celebration is going to be a year and a half is because those things are not ready, and they will be ready at the end probably. So I think we may not see Tron until 2023. I think we'll see Guardians next year probably, and they'll probably spread it out so people can just keep coming back throughout the anniversary, which I think is smart. I think all the renderings looked pretty cool. I'll put them on the screen here, but all the renderings looked pretty cool of each of the parks. I'm looking forward to seeing those. That starts on the actual 50th anniversary, October 1st. It'll be pretty cool. Do you have any thoughts on what they announced for that event?
I mean, like I'm really looking forward to it. Just where entertainment's coming back.
Yeah.
Than ever.
And I kind of think they'll, if they can, I think it'll be kind of like when Disneyland did their 60th. You guys got that parade and the new fireworks. We just got our new fireworks show. I don't think we'll get another one, but I think we'll get a new parade. Magic Kingdom has not had a new nighttime parade. They haven't had a nighttime parade at all in years. So it'd be really cool if they can. I don't know if they will be able to in that time frame because of pandemic stuff, but I think that'd be really cool. And I think that'd be another thing. But I think the rides will open. I think we'll get Ratatouille 2021 in time for the 50th. Obviously, it's done. It's ready. Then I think next year we'll get Guardians. And then I think to close the celebration out at the very end will probably be Tron in 2023, which is all right. I mean, they had said they never said it would be ready for the beginning of the anniversary. I think that was the goal, but that's just kind of what happens. So additionally, by the time fall rolls around, Epcot is going to have a new nighttime spectacular replacing Illuminations. That was supposed to start last year, I think, But Disney started selling some packages online that included private viewing for this new show at Epcot. It's called Harmonious, and these packages are for October, so presumably they want to debut this in time for the anniversary, which would make sense. I mean, they've had like the barges floating out in the bridge. I mean, not in the bridge, in the water since last year. When I was there last year in December, I saw them there. So they're definitely getting prepared. I know that they were testing fireworks recently this past week, I think, for that show. So they're definitely getting there. And I think they're really just waiting on, again, being able to show it to a crowd, figuring out how to do that. And who knows, maybe you'll have to buy a spot to see it at first. Maybe you'll have to reserve a spot to see it online. But it seems like they'll be trying to debut it in time for October. And I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm sure it'll be awesome because it replaced Illuminations, and that was a very beloved show. So hopefully it'll be better than that one was, which is a hard thing to do, but I'm sure they can do it. And on the topic of the parks, but also on another topic of Disney Plus, it sounds like they're starting to make a new cinematic universe out of the parks themselves, starting with this new Society of Explorers and Adventurers, I think is the name of it. C is the acronym. This series is based on Magic Kingdom lands like Adventureland, Frontierland, whatever else, I don't know. But it's based on what would be happening in these lands if they were real places. So you can imagine all that, of course. But the interesting thing to me is not just that we're getting a Magic Kingdom lands show, which is awesome. I've been wanting that for a long time. But there are more in the works about all the parks, it seems like. So that's awesome. You know, there's been all this talk, you know, we're going to get a new Haunted Mansion movie, but we haven't ever gotten it. And so maybe they'll finally do it with this. Stuff like that, like the original rides they made, they can make.
Perhaps we could see a remake.
Yeah.
Of the ride, like a whole revamp.
Yeah, I mean, this is genius because you can tie in the movies to the rides. You can redo the rides and then make a new movie or a TV show. Like it's the ultimate cross promotion thing. And supposedly Jungle Cruise, the movie that was supposed to come out last year with The Rock, it's supposedly the first in this universe. It's supposed to kick it off. And so I guess they've known about this for a long time. But this is really cool. There was this book series called Kingdom Keepers that I used to read a lot. And it was about these kids that were like virtual tour guides of Magic Kingdom, and they would wake up there and they would see all the Disney characters and stuff. It's much more complicated than that, but there was supposed to be a Disney Plus series about that with Kevin Smith, and then he was kind of talking about it recently about why it got canned because it would have been literally every Disney character would have been in that show, in that movie show. I don't know what it's going to be, but I've always wanted to see that, so I hope that can somehow come back as part of this, but something tells me this is why they stopped doing that show, because I think they wanted to probably do something new with it. So I'm looking forward to this. I've always wanted to see some sort of show based on specifically the Magic Kingdom, but I'm sure the other parks will have some awesome stuff too. A Figment show, maybe. You never know. That's an example of things I'm sure that could make the cut, because they seem to be making like Figment at Epcot. He seems to be becoming a new icon for them, so I can see them making a children's show or something like that about him. But the possibilities are endless for that. Do you have any ideas for any shows they could make, or are you excited for these, or what are your thoughts on this?
I would say like it's like Disney, like I said, I'm gonna the way how I would describe it, Walt Disney, like I'm gonna say it on how always I'm gonna quote this quote on how Walt Disney always said it. You know, like we keep doing new things, either renovating or just creating new beginnings, new content, like the creativity just never ends for them. So
yeah, and I mean for a long time people have been begging for parks content on Disney Plus, or just the channels in general. And now the main channel is obviously Disney Plus. So I think this will be cool. And I look forward to seeing all of this. Next up, just another thing to do with Disney Plus. Yesterday, there was this event about all these streaming services, and I don't really know what the event was, but there Disney Plus dropped some stuff. Kevin Feige commented on some Marvel series stuff, like, why are these series 6 hours? Will there be some that get a season 2? And he said, for season 2, he said, WandaVision won't be getting one probably, which makes sense. That doesn't need a season 2. That's a one and done, I think. Falcon will probably be getting a season 2, for example, but we knew that before. But he said they're being on a case-by-case basis. Some will get season 2, some will get season 3. But he talked a little bit about just some Marvel stuff in general. So if you want to know about that, you can look it up online. But what I want to talk about is they released some release dates for their upcoming stuff on Disney Plus. Some small stuff, in my opinion, some big stuff, and then some medium stuff. It's all for stuff from March to July. So I'm just going to read down the list, and then we can talk about it a little bit. March 19th, we already knew Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's in like 2 weeks. Or 3 weeks. March 26th, The Mighty Ducks Game Changers. That's a movie. That looks pretty good. Not going to lie. April 16th is Big Shot. I don't know if I know what that is, to be honest. May 4th is Star Wars The Bad Batch, which is an animated show coming up from Star Wars. So May 4th would make sense to be that date. May 14th, High School Musical, the series, season 2, which back in the day when they launched Disney Plus, I'm not going to lie, I laughed at it. I was like, it's kind of dumb. I mean, it makes sense. They like to capitalize on High School Musical, but do we really need something like that? But I watched season 1 actually, and I thought the series was pretty good. I thought it was entertaining. I mean, it's not the best show ever or anything, but the cast in it, I feel like they're probably all going to become some big names. I mean, one of the stars of the show just released a song that's been like number 1 on the charts for like a month now. Has some good songs in it. It was a pretty entertaining show, so I've been looking forward to season 2. That'll be May 14th. June 11th, this is probably the biggest one. Loki will be releasing June 11th. Previously, we all thought it would be May, but it's going to be June, and that's fun. And I think that's a good thing, and I'll get to that in a minute, why I think that's a good thing. Also on June 11th, Zenimation Season 2. I mean, I think Zenimation Season 1 was just like a calming, soothing thing. I don't think it's that big of a deal. June 25th, The Mysterious Benedict Society. I don't know what that is either. I think it's a movie coming out. July 2nd, Monsters at Work. I'm very excited for this one. That's the Monsters, Inc. series that has been in development. And it takes place basically...
I'm really excited for Monsters at Work.
Yeah. It brings back the original cast, and then some characters from Monsters University will be in it. And it takes place... I think it takes place within the timeline of the Laugh Floor attraction in Magic Kingdom. So it'll be a comedy, and I'm very much looking forward to that one. That's July 2nd. Actually, to be honest, after Loki, I think that's my most anticipated thing on this list. July 16th, Turner and Hooch. I don't know what that is.
Chippendale.
July 23rd. Now, I was confused. 23rd. Yeah. I thought that was the one with John Mulaney in it, but it's not. That's a different thing that they announced last year. This is in the style of the new Mickey Mouse shorts, but it's just Chippendale.
They're remaking Turner and Hooch.
Yeah. I don't know what that is. What is that?
Turner and Hooch, it's... Okay, so Tom Hanks, yeah, used to kind of be in that type of movie, Turner and Hooch. Mm-hmm. But, like, it was like an original movie, but I guess it's a remake.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 1989 film.
Well, yeah, so that's a lot of content from March to July. And it really is a lot of content. If you look at most of these are series, so they'll be going for multiple weeks. So Disney's really ramping up with their series. We still got WandaVision, but this stuff starts in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm really looking forward to that. And so Disney Plus. All the content I've watched on Disney Plus has been really good so far. Mandalorian, I don't think there was a single bad episode of that show. WandaVision, every episode's been really good. I hope it stays consistent, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I love The Mandalorian. I love WandaVision. Honestly, I grew up kind of watching the Star Wars, the Clone Wars, and up to it. I was amazed with the final season on like last year, and I'm excited for like the new like. And I'm pretty sure I've said this before, like in the last previous episodes. I'm really excited for Ahsoka. I'm excited for. I would say I'm interested in Monsters at Work and one of the new features, Loki. I'll probably watch the Bad Batch. It's like a new Star Wars original Clone Wars series. Just to see how it is, like what story direction they're going with, what Dave Filoni is writing at. And then I'm excited for what's Hawkeye, the new Hawkeye series.
I think so where this list ends is July 23rd. I think right after that, I think that's probably when we'll get Hawkeye, like August, September, something like that. So we'll see.
So Hawkeye comes out in September, correct?
Probably. We don't know for sure, but probably.
Okay.
Because
then Spider-Man Christmas, the finale, Marvel. Yeah.
We'll talk about that in just a second.
Sorry.
But that's the next topic. But all this, the reason I think Disney Plus is kind of going this direction, at least in subscriber numbers, is because of stuff like this. You don't just have the A-list, top of the line stuff like Falcon and Loki and Star Wars, but you also have stuff that families love like Monsters, Inc. You have Chip and Dale. Then you have some smaller stuff, and then you have some stuff for teenagers. Then you have some nostalgic stuff all around. And I think that's why people are, if they're choosing, because there's a lot of streaming services, I think the reason people are choosing Disney Plus is because of the variety of family content. And then, of course, there's the everyone can watch it content like Loki and WandaVision, Mandalorian, and all of that stuff has been amazing. So anyway, that's the lineup for Disney Plus at the moment. But as you just said, Spider-Man 3 is coming, and the title is Spider-Man No Way Home, which it was a heavily rumored title. But the way they went about this was pretty funny. A couple of days ago, Tom Holland posted on Twitter, the title of this film is Spider-Man Phone Home. And then the guy who plays Ned, Jacob, he posted another title. I forgot what that one was. I think it was Home Wrecker. And then Zendaya posted Home Slice was the title. And so obviously none of those were the real title. And so everyone was like, oh, I guess we're getting a title tonight on Jimmy Fallon because Tom Holland was on Jimmy Fallon. Nope, we didn't get one then. Then the next day, rumors were like, oh, we're going to get the title now. We're going to get it in an hour. Nope. And then Marvel was like, Loki comes out June 11th. Everyone's like, dang it, I guess that's the announcement for the day. And then 5 minutes later, Sony's like, here's the title, here's the reveal. And it was done in a really cool way. There was a clip they released of the three being like, oh, they won't tell us the title. And then they walk by and there's the title. Of course, it was in the, like, making fun of how Tom Holland always leaks the titles and details and stuff.
Spoiling.
Yeah.
Love it.
But yeah, obviously this movie is a very highly anticipated movie. It's probably my most anticipated movie of the year.
By far.
Do you think at this point, we're getting the 3 Spider-Man in it?
I'm going to hold it for a grain of salt for now. Maybe until like they release a trailer.
Yeah. If they're in it, they'll be in the trailer, I think. Sony would not market it without them in it if they're in that movie. Just because Sony likes to spoil things.
Secret, or it's like they're trying to keep it the most biggest secret, correct? So it's like,
well, I think they want, if just knowing Sony, they often will put the final scene in their trailers of the movie.
True.
Like that's true. Like it's Into the Spider-Verse, they put the final scene in there. Venom, they did that. They did that with Far From Home, and I think if they're saving it, they're probably saving it to break the internet with it when the trailer comes out. But I don't know. Maybe Marvel, because Marvel's involved with this. Maybe they'll be like, nope. So
I want to say it's a 50-50 at this point. It's a 50-50.
If it's not, I think it'll still be really good.
It makes sense. Like we're kind of like in Spider-Man in the multiverse somewhere, No Way Home. So it's like it's gonna be it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really fun.
Yeah. I think a lot of people will be disappointed if they're not in it, just because everyone's convinced themselves that they are. But I've loved the Spider-Man movies, like the last few,
Oh
so
yeah, no.
I
Tom
think it'll
Holland
be
said
great.
this is the best one yet to be like the most ambitious film.
He also
But
said it was like the best fight sequence he's ever seen. The one they just shot. They said it took like weeks to shoot it or whatever. Just the fight sequence from like the ending of the film or something. So that'll be awesome. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. And then our final topic today is another movie. Pixar released a trailer today for their next film, Luca. And I thought the trailer was okay. I didn't think it was anything all that special. But the thing I've noticed about Pixar, I was listening to a show earlier today on YouTube, and the guy was talking about like oftentimes he's kind of underwhelmed by their trailers, but he knows the movies will be awesome, and everyone kind of knows the Pixar movies are going to be awesome. So having a bad trailer, having a mediocre trailer doesn't really matter for them because they consistently perform really well. And I think the nature of the movies kind of mean that the way they make their trailers, they have to make it that way. Like in this one, the most of the trailer was about the kids, just being the kids, and then at the end you saw that they were sea creatures. And I don't think the way Pixar tells their stories, I don't think that there was another way they could have done this trailer to make it more interesting without introducing them first. Because if you think about the Pixar movies, they spend a little bit introducing the characters before you see like, I don't know, the big what the actual story is. So that's where I think it kind of falls apart for them in the trailer category. But I mean, I'm looking forward to this movie. I got a sense for what the movie's kind of about, and this was probably just this was just supposed to be a teaser, I think. So this isn't even the full trailer. Pixar always delivers, in my opinion. And so I'm sure it'll be really good. What did you think about the trailer?
I mean, when it comes for me, when it comes to Pixar films, like I don't like when I watch trailers. It's like just any trailer. Like I mean, it looks interesting. I'll give it that. I mean, like once it comes out, like I'll watch it. It's another Pixar film, so it's like it's like a new story. It's a new like way of you just to set set the mood like to watch at the right time.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be
I'll watch
great.
it eventually when it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, it looks really nice. Like visually, they just keep getting better and better with their animation.
Yeah. Like Soul. Did you like Soul?
Yeah, I love Soul. But also, that was one I didn't think had very good trailers, to be honest with you. But the movie was really good. It was probably my favorite one of last year overall. But I mean, the selections were kind of limited last year. But that was probably my favorite of last year. So I can't think of a Pixar movie I didn't like. There were some underwhelming ones, like Cars 3 maybe. But I liked that one. And so Pixar has yet to let us down, at least me. So I'm looking forward to this movie, and I know that the audience will come in droves to see this movie, as they always do for Pixar, whether it's in theaters or Disney Plus. For now, it's in theaters, but you never know. They like to shift things around. Oh, I didn't mention this. This is the last thing. Then we'll be done. When we were talking about the release dates, I said there was a good thing about Loki. About Loki releasing in June instead of May. I think that's because Black Widow is going to come out, and I think they're trying to give it space in May. So maybe they're considering Black Widow to Disney Plus finally. And by doing that, and by delaying Loki, which was supposed to be in May for a long time, that would give Black Widow weeks to itself. And so I think that's kind of what that means. I don't know if that's for sure or anything, but that's the only thing I can think of, because I think Black Widow will come to Disney Plus, even if it does go to theaters. But I think that May date is becoming more and more likely for Black Widow. But anyway, yeah, that's that's all of our topics today. We got through that relatively quickly, actually. Lots of stuff happened this week. Of course, it's WandaVision time now, coming up here. When we're recording this, at least, it's Thursday at 9:30, so just a couple hours to go.
6:30 here, a couple hours here in the West Coast.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be, of course, talking about that pretty soon. And then whatever news comes out in the next week. So we'll see you guys next week on the podcast. You can follow us again on Twitter, on Instagram, find us on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, wherever you are listening to this. Please like or subscribe or share with your friends. Do whatever you feel like you should do. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.